the haunted mask. There she was, laying in a pool of her own blood. Or was it mine? The definition of darkness is the partial or total absence of light. The definition of absence is the state of being away from a place or person. The definition of state is the particular condition that someone or something is in at a specific time. 23 years ago, on Halloween night, I was left in a state of trauma. The definition of trauma is a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. And that is where I start my story. It was Halloween, and I was excited to be going trick-or-treating with my friends. Now, for those that don't know, the definition of trick-or-treating is a children's custom of calling at houses at Halloween with the threat of pranks if they are not given a small gift. For me, this day was one of the best days of the year, but on this eventful night, things changed forever. I was walking home from school that day and took a quaint little route back to my house through the woods. I was minding my own business when an elderly lady jumped out in front of me. I was startled, but she was only small, so I didn't feel threatened. She looked at me with a creepy grin on her face and asked, "Trick-or-treating tonight?" I replied yes, and she reached into her pocket to reveal a horrifying mask. The definition of mask is a covering for all or part of the face, worn as a disguise, or to amuse, or frighten others. It was slime green, very wrinkly, and goblin-looking with a hunched nose. She said, "I want you to wear this tonight, but be warned, you will see strange things through the eyes of this mask." I took it from her hand and said thank you. Then she walked past me as if I was never there. It was a weird encounter. I was tempted to throw it away, but it was a creepy-looking mask, and I don't believe in evil spirits, so I carried on walking home. When I got home, I felt something was off. I didn't feel right. I had a horrible feeling in my stomach. I thought it might be stomachache, so I went to the toilet and squeezed out the sloppiest of excrement. Now, the definition of excrement is waste matter discharged from the bowels, feces. The definition of feces is waste matter remaining after food has been digested, discharged from the bowels, excrement. The definition of discharge is allow a liquid, gas, or other substance to flow out from where it has been confined. And in this case, the discharge was unforgivable. After I wiped my backsides, something was still off. I went downstairs and sat in the living room. Now, before I go any further, I must run through some details about my house. The living room is made up from 4 walls, one with a window. It has 2 beige leather sofas, a TV, an old vintage cupboard, and a bookshelf. On this bookshelf, you can find the works of Edith Blyton, Roald Dahl, Beatrix Potter, and many more. But on with the story. I sat down and sunk into the sofa, gazing up at the ceiling, thinking about what was wrong with me. I couldn't put my finger on it. Then suddenly I remembered. I reached down into my pocket and pulled out the mask. The old lady is talking nonsense, I thought to myself. The definition of nonsense is spoken or written words that have no meaning or make no sense. And in this case, I thought the old lady was full of it, so I ended up trying on the mask. This was the biggest regret of my life. Through the eyes of the mask, I could see a tunnel of light. I could hear voices, strange voices. Something supernatural was at work. Then suddenly, right in front of me, 2 headless goblins appeared, both carrying their own decapitated heads in their arms. They turned to me and looked me dead in the face. Their expressionless faces soon turned to a look of pure evil. They looked at me like I was prey, and they were the predators. Have you ever had that feeling when you lose feelings in your legs? That's what I experienced. As these 2 demented goblins began to get closer and closer to me, I couldn't move from my seat. I was terrified. I screamed in horror. I was going to die. Then all of a sudden, my mother slammed the door wide open. To see me in total fear with a mask on my face, she ripped my mask off and said, "I told you not to put the horror channel on TV." She was right. There weren't any goblins out to get me. I was watching a horror film on TV. Never again did I put the horror channel back on.
Toodaloo.